And welcome back to our series of preparation for OmniStudio developer certification. So in today's video we will be completing this module, that is OmniScripts with branching. And in this we will be discussing about why do we create a branch in OmniScripts, and what is the benefit of that. And then we move on to discuss about what other features do we have in OmniScript and how we can embed the flex card in an OmniScript, and why do we do that, in what scenarios should we do that. So let's move on to the module. It has 4 units, that is design, and first unit is design and build a branching OmniScripts. So let's get started with that. So in first unit we are discussing about branching of OmniScript. So if we talk about branching, you remember OmniScript is a guided path for any business process. So we have seen OmniScript is having two or three of integration procedure, and then step element, and then another integration procedure to save it, and then navigation action. But we can have multiple scenarios in an OmniScript. Suppose if we select one option, then it should show these elements in next screen or next step. But if we select second option, then it should show these step in second screen. Suppose if you are considering an example of voting system, so in first screen we will be asking about users age. So we can add two options, that what age you are on, what age you are of, 18 plus. Our second option is less than 18. So if user select 18 plus and click on next button, then we can show the further fields for the user to fill out and do for the procedure. But if the user select that he or she is of less than 18 age, then we can show the error message or warning message in the next screen, or even on the same screen, that you are not allowed to do this step or fill out this form. So let's consider a valid example on this page. So we have this example where we are having three options. First is update primary contact. There's a contact linked with an account. We will be performing it on based on the account ID. So if a user is already having a primary contact and we want to update it, we can choose first option. But if we want to completely change the existing primary contact to a new contact, then we can click on second option. But if we entirely want to create a new primary contact, then we can choose the third option. So what happens if we choose the second option, that is change primary contact? In our screen we will be having a type ahead block where we are searching for user, and then we can fill out the form and then select that user to be a primary contact of that account. But if we will be selecting a third option, that is creating a new primary contact for that account, then we will get this form to create a new primary contact. Similarly, for first option, if we will select update primary contact, then we will be getting already existing contacts detail, and and ability to edit those details if we want to edit any of those, and then we can save that. Then they are talking about that if we can change the UI and UX of an OmniScript. So it is very important how the user view our OmniScript or anything on UI. It enhances the performance or efficiency, or how the user perceives our functionality. So we can dynamically control the width of our field, like if they are viewing it on smaller devices, then it should be this much blocks. But if they are viewing it on larger devices, then it should be this much of blocks. We can make field read only or required, and then we can provide help text as well. We can provide conditional to the fields, that if only these conditions are satisfied, then we want this field be available to the user or not. And we can customize the step chart as well. Step chart is a default in OmniScript, but we can even update the instructions on that. So that's how conditional branching works, that based on options we select in first screen, we can get multiple or different forms on the second screen or second step in an OmniScript. And for efficiency, we can use checkbox as well on first screen, but we use radio button because at a time user can select only one option, and there is not a provision of selecting multiple option at a time for a user, at least for now. And now we talk about that how we can inspect OmniScript JSON. Then we do have six types or six property. If we mention that, first is send JSON path. We can specify a node, that which node we want to send, instead of sending an entire OmniScript JSON. Similarly, second is send JSON node. We can relabel the JSON node which is being sent to a data tool. And similarly, the way we are sending JSON path and JSON node, we have response JSON path and response JSON node. While receiving the JSON path, we can specify what node we want to receive instead of an entire OmniScript JSON. And in similar pattern in JSON node, we can relabel it, which is being returned from the data tool. Then next is pre-transform data raptor interface. We can call a data raptor transform for a more complex data mapping when we are sending data to a data tool. And then post transfer, while we are receiving data back from a data tool, we can map more complex data. So let's come to the quiz. First is, what creates branching from each block element in a step element? Branching is being created by radio button views. Then second is, what is the, like, if you are wondering that radio button views, first we select radio buttons and then we are branching an OmniScript into different steps. Second question is, what is the name of the property that sends a specific node in the JSON to a data tool? So it's send JSON path. Yes, we might get confused with send JSON node, but in send JSON node we are relabeling it, but in send JSON path we are sending the JSON node. Let's check our quiz. Okay, so what creates branching for each block element in a step element? Branching views, step views, conditional views. Yeah, so my mistake, its answer should be conditional views. So using radio button we are selecting the option, but based on conditional views we are setting up that which step should be visible based on which option selected in the radio button. So that's how we are creating branching. Okay, let's check. That's the correct answer. Let's move on to the next unit. Second is create a type ahead block element. So in this we will be creating in more detail about type ahead block element. How does it work? That we start typing and searching, and then it gets the data from data sources, whatever we have taken as data source in OmniScript at that time, and then it shows the result which matches that word. So in this case, if you see here, it says that start typing contact name. So if we will start typing any letter, it will search that relatable contact from Salesforce. So we can have multiple data sources such as data raptor turbo action, data raptor extract, HTTP remote action, integration procedure, JSON data, and Google Maps autocomplete as well. But here, as we decided that we will be pulling data from Salesforce, so we will use data raptor extract. And this is they are explaining that how does it work. So in simple, if I will tell you, here we are having OmniScript and here we are having data raptor. So in OmniScript we are giving them the context ID, that is account ID, related to which they have to find the contact which we are typing in the type ahead block. So it will pass that account ID as and then they will put it in query as of related contact account ID. Then we will be passing characters or you say letters in that type ahead block, it will pass as lookup key. uh, it will pass as lookup key, and then the query will become like that. We have to search lookup key like contact name. We have to search for contact name which looks like or which has letters like lookup key. Then the data raptor return the result, and that result return to the OmniScript as change contact name key, and then we will get the results in our type ahead block. So we can have multiple properties. We can click on the edit icon and change that the type ahead block properties. So let's come to the quiz. So first question is, how many choices for data elements do you have for a type ahead block? So as we discussed that we do have 7 types of data elements: data raptor turbo, data raptor extract, http remote integration procedure, JSON, and one other as well. And second is to prevent typos, copy the value for the type ahead key field from which node in the action debugger. So for that we do need to copy it in the response of action debugger so that we can avoid typos. Let's check. So we have completed this quiz. Let's move on to the next unit. Next unit is validate data and handle errors. So in this unit we will be discussing about that, if how do we validate our data, and if we want to show any errors if data is not correct, or if suppose we consider a scenario that we do have 3 options or 3 radio buttons on the first step of our OmniScript, but user is not selecting any option, even it is mentioned as required, and then we are clicking on next. Then how do we handle that? Because if we will move on to the second screen without selecting any option, it will throw an error and we will not be getting a correct screen or any step. So we want user to input any value in that, and we want user to let know that yes, you are making a mistake, and we want you to select an option. So how do we do that? We do have a set error element in the OmniScript, using which we can set values, provide condition. So if in this case you see this formula we have given, that if this update name, that is first option of update primary contact radio button is empty, and that second, that is change contact block is empty, that is type ahead one, means if we want to change the primary contact, and last is that is create primary contact is also empty, then return the result as not okay, otherwise it is okay. So it will check this SV error check is okay or not okay, and then we will move forward. And in set errors we do have 3 properties which are required. First is element error map, which displays the error message. Second is value field, what message we want to display, it provides us with this value. And third is conditional view. In this we will provide the condition, that on which condition or which thing we want to validate, based on which we want to show the error to the user. So yeah, so in this case if you see that user is not selecting any option, so we are, or user is selecting the wrong option based on given condition, so we are providing user with an error, that is please change or create a new primary contact, because this user might not be having any primary contact in the first place to update it, but user is selecting first option, that is update primary contact. So let's move on to the quiz. First question is true or false. You concatenate values with the set values element. Yes, we can do that. Second is, which of the following is a required property for a set errors element? First option is conditional view. Second is conditional logic. Third is element error map. Fourth is element conditional view. So A and C should be the correct answer as we discussed. And there is third property as well, which is value field. Let's check. So we are done with this unit as well. Let's move on to the last unit for this module, that is display external data. So till now we have talked about if we are getting or pulling the data from Salesforce using data raptor extract, then how we are displaying that. But if we do have a scenario in which we are pulling the data from external data sources, and we want to display it on our UI or OmniScript based on some condition, then how do we do that? So here we are having a requirement that we want to show the weather forecast, and it's alert as well based on the selected options or based on the locations weather. So for that we have a site where from where we will be pulling data based on API. So we need uh, to fulfill this requirement, we need to take care of three things: that how do we get the data from external source, how do we display it, and how can we add the warning messages if there is any hazardous condition for our location. So to get the data, we will be using we can use any kind of sources, but in this case we are getting data from an app that a site that is weatherbit.io. So we will be getting this data using an API. Then next, how we will be displaying it. So there is an already created or in your org, that is weather flex card. So we will be using that, we will embed that flex card in our OmniScript. Yes, we can do that. And then last, that how we can add the warning messages. So we can display a message using an display text message, and we will add condition to that related to our location. If this location's weather is this line, this range, or any value they will be providing from weather, then show this message, otherwise not. So now come to the use messaging to display warnings. So just now I said that we can use message or display text element to display the warning messages. So in this we do have types of message. So there are four types, that is comment, success, warning, and requirement. So comment is having gray banner, gray banner, that is gray background, you can consider it as. Success is having green banner, warning is having yellow banner, and requirement is having red banner. And out of these four, first three is having both true and false condition, which can be satisfied for it to show, but requirement is having only false condition. And suppose if you want to show messages, please confirm the weather condition in this location is this, so we can use gray banner. So yes, we are done with this unit. Let's come to the quiz. First question is, what is the merge field syntax in an OmniScript? So if you have noticed, we are using this syntax if we want to show any field data on UI. Second second question is true or false. In a messaging element, every banner type can have both true and false condition. So out of four, we do have only three banner types which can have both conditions, but not all. So let's go with four because they are mentioning every. Let's check. So yes, we are done with this unit, and we have completed our module, that is OmniScripts with branching. So stay tuned, and in our next video in this series of ours for preparing for OmniStudio developer certification, we will be targeting OmniStudio Data Raptors module in our next video. Thank you.